Today's episode of Bourbon Barrel Talk is brought to you by Matt Wagner with Oxenus Partners Wealth Management. Matt and his team specialize in strategic, financial, and investment planning. I've personally worked with Matt throughout the years and enjoy him and his team's honest and straightforward approach to investing. They've personally helped me and many family members and friends with all of their financial planning and needs. They have multiple locations, one in southern Indiana in Jeffersonville, the other one in the heart of St. Matthews. You can contact Matt at 502-432-1401. Hello and welcome back to Bourbon Barrel Talk. I'm your host, Scott Minton. Today we are sitting up in the Bourbon Penthouse with Mr. Nick Hayden again. How's it going, Nick?
Going well.
And the legend joined us again today. What's going on, Steven?
Just happy to be here.
Happy to be here. I guess it's as good a place to be as anywhere else, right?
Absolutely.
Hanging out with us, drinking some bourbon, talking about what we're going to talk about today, which is Christmas gifts.
My favorite.
I love Christmas. Christmas is great. I guess we should be politically correct, though. Instead of call it Christmas, we should call it the holiday season.
Holiday season, yes.
That's right, because right now we're actually, I think Hanukkah started like a couple of days ago.
Yes.
I think it started, November
days.
28th or 29th, something like that this year?
Yeah, I don't know the specifics. I just know I see a lot of my friends that they've been posting pictures and stuff like that.
Yeah, so we'll just call it season's greetings,
yeah, holiday.
Happy holidays, all that good
holidays,
stuff.
yeah.
Absolutely. So,
but it could also be generalized. I mean, bourbon gifts, and I mean,
yeah, bourbon gifts. It doesn't have to be for the special holiday. It could be just for a birthday gift or anything else. Yeah.
Or if someone just wants to get me something, that's fine.
Absolutely. I'll take a gift at any moment.
Just because we're loved.
That's right. Just because we're loved. And you really are loved, Stephen. Everybody loves Stephen. Everybody loves the legend.
Yes.
Well, I don't know about that.
He gets so much praise in all the local clubs and everything else.
I think there's a list of...
I mean, listen, everybody has a list of people that just don't like them. If they don't like you, we should just say F them because they're just not good people if they don't like you for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah.
So anyway, with that, we're going to do just a small little tasting of some Jefferson Reserve. This is a single barrel pick that one of the local bourbon clubs did, and it is a Twin Oak custom barrel. It comes in at, 90.2 proof, and we'll talk a little bit about that. It's got a little tater sticker on the back that says Feeling Groovy, and looks like Thomas Jefferson is wearing his tie-dyed headband and a pair of groovy sunglasses.
And Stephen was on that pick, so he knows.
Oh, Stephen, you were on that pick. All right, so you'll be able to fill us in real big on this one.
Well, the groovy part came from the fact that the second barrel, the staves were grooved on the inside.
Oh, okay.
To open up more of the wood surface.
That makes sense. Yeah. So it's kind of like that. What is the makers did the new stave system that they did?
They did. I think Kentucky Artisan, which houses Jefferson. So instead of doing like the double oak with like the regular barrels, they groove it. I mean, it's like ridges. I mean, it's a really unique process, and the theory or the philosophy behind it is kind of like, you know how like Lake of the Ozarks. Like if you stretch out all Lake of the Ozarks, the entire land is like as long as like the East Coast or whatever it is.
Right.
So all that allows more surface area so that bourbon interacts with those grooves and gets more of that oak so they can do whatever they do.
Yeah. It was real funny. Somebody said that Minnesota had more shoreline than Florida, which I thought was crazy.
With the Great
because
Lakes.
of all the lakes.
Yeah.
So there's no Great Lakes. It's just they're the land of 10,000 lakes. I mean, there's literally like a lake on every corner. So funny little trivia thing that I think I saw it on Jeopardy. They're like, which land has the longest coastline? And people were like, California, Alaska, well, like Minnesota.
No. Yeah, you got to get some of those Midwest states. But
so
I think Minnesota does touch Lake Superior. I think,
does it taste like Superior? You might be
so.
right.
I don't know.
I don't know, Stephen.
I've
been drinking already. I don't have any idea.
Nor do you care.
Geography's not my strong point right now. I can tell you that.
So that's how you got the name Feeling Groovy, though, is because of all the grooves. And
right.
Those.
Twin oaked and a groove stave barrel. I love that. So we're going to try this. We're going to talk about that. And then we're going to talk about the gifts that you can give to your favorite bourbon lover / connoisseur / moron, whatever you want to call them.
Significant other.
Yeah.
Partner,
husband, partner, wife. It can be for anything.
Whomever.
That's right. Yeah. Whoever.
Just gifts.
Just
Child,
gifts.
parent.
I think we should give our kids bourbon. Put them to sleep.
Give the kids bourbon gifts and be like, oh, you can't use this? My bad.
Dad'll have to take one for the team there, honey. Oh, goodness. So
I gave my 3-year-old grandson a bottle this weekend.
Did you? That's awesome.
Birthday? Like a birthday bottle? Or
yeah, it was barreled on his birth date.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, that's even better.
Was it a Blanton's or?
No, it was Knob Creek.
Knob Creek. There you go.
Ooh, okay. Solid. 15-year, 12-year?
It was old enough. Didn't have a year on it.
Oh, so it's one of the old school ones. And
Oh, tasty. Does he? He might not even know what he has until he's 21.
he probably won't make it to 21. If he's anything like me, that bottle will never make it to 21.
Other grandson has a Blanton's with his birth date on it. I couldn't find one for the first one.
Yeah. Was he born on a Saturday?
No.
Just couldn't find one.
I just couldn't find one. I really didn't think about it at the time.
Gotcha.
Yeah, they get hard. They're very finicky with what days they bottle and stuff like that.
They very are. So, all right, gifts. I'm gonna give out, like, this is the one gift that I asked for. Actually, I'm gonna start off with easy and simple. We're gonna start off with bottles. So the gifts that I would like to receive are always just something that everybody can find on the shelf, things like that. Because I try not to be one of those dudes that, like, oh, go find me a bottle of Weller, blah blah blah, or go find me a bottle of Willet.
So something easier to find.
Exactly. I want you to be able to find these gifts.
Like 1, 2, or 3.
What's that?
Like a couple.
Yeah, just a couple bottles that you would like to get as a gift. So that way, if somebody's out there and they're like, hey, I need the bourbon lover in my life, I want to get them something. What would it be? So for me, I'm going to say, if you can find it, and I think they're somewhat readily available, but not super readily available. I want a Woodford Double Oak single barrel. So like a store pick. So you go into your local, bar or liquor store, and you'd be like, hey, do you have Woodford Double Oak? And if they say yes, then be like, hey, do you happen to have one that's a single barrel? So for me, that would be my first one. I think that's something that they're pretty regularly done. I don't think that they're crazy out of line, but I think it's a great pour. It's what, $65?
Yeah.
And I think that would be a great gift. How about you, Nick?
I would have to go. It's a toss-up. So both are, one's a little harder to find, but I'd probably have to go Blade and Bow. Just a regular expression. I think it's $65, $70 off the shelf. It's one that I always recommend anyway. So good drinker, neat. If you add a cube, fine. Mix it, great. It's just one of those that looks classy. Good all-around drinker. And then huge 4-gate. So if you find one of those single-barrel 4-gates.
Dang, he's going pricey already. All right.
But you can find it. So it's one of those. I do like my 4-gate.
So 4-gate's distributed in what? I think they said like 22 states or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's not, again, it's harder to find, but the single barrels, like they did those toasted rye, I mean, that's something very unique. I mean, there's only a limited number of them anyway. So with the single barrels, 120 bottles, 130 bottles. So.
Gotcha. All right, Stephen.
All right. Not going to say Old Forester, shockingly. I have 2 Elijah Craig 94 proof store picks.
Okay. Yeah.
I think they're just heavenly.
Yep. And they're cheap. I mean,
they're cheap.
$32, $35.
And some of those are like 12 years too. Like,
Yeah.
You get like sneaky good.
Any of the earlier ones, I think most of them are 12 year.
The other thing I would say would be any one of the Remus Repeal Reserve series.
Okay.
There's 5 out.
Yeah.
5 years.
Are those
now.
pretty readily available?
Generally.
Are those the one with the black case, like that opens up?
No, that's the
Volstead.
Volstead, okay.
These are $90-ish.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're a blend of MGP mash bills and
So
ages.
behind the glass case.
Yeah, probably. It's at least probably behind the counter. They're probably not sitting on everybody's shelf.
They were
Not
sitting
at
on
$90.
They're sitting on a shelf at Waterfront Wine and Spirits and at Keg Liquors.
Okay.
last year.
Keg, yeah. Keg.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Well, good for them.
They're on the high shelf, but
Right.
they're on a shelf.
Yeah. No, I get it.
Yeah, those are solid.
Another one for me, and this is because I want to give everybody all the expressions. So I started out with basically a bourbon, but kind of semi-finished with the Woodford. Next, I'm going to go with a Maker's Cask Strength. So
Nice choice.
So if you get Maker's Cask Strength, and I'm even going to go even just stretch it out just a little bit and be like 46, Maker's 46 Cask Strength.
That's a good bottle.
So, you get a weeder. So, for people that are like, oh, I love Pappy and I want the Weller, and this is a weeder. It's a solid drinker. You're going to get it at cask strength. Price point's going to be in that $60 to $65 range, and I don't think you'll be disappointed with that.
If I had to pick another one, a third one, I'm always open for store picks. So, I'd leave it kind of broad. If I could find like an older bullet store pick, like we're talking like the 10-year, because they're going to run out of 10-year barrels eventually. And they won't be able to guarantee it's Kentucky juice. So if you find like an older, like a 10-year bullet, again, same price point, around that $65 range.
Yep.
I'd go with that. I know there's a couple stores that I think have a couple 10-year picks on their shelf.
So just to let people know, if you don't know what a bullet store pick would look like or a single barrel would look, typically they have neck tags. They're going to be like hanging over the edge of the neck, and it's going to be black.
Oh, we have one right here. Yep.
I know. And then typically it's a black neck tag, and it'll have like silverish / white writing on it. But it's typed. Obviously, it's not writing. But that way you'll kind of know if it's a single barrel, and it says single barrel on the front. But that's what Nick's talking about. But yeah, I agree. It's a great thing. A lot of the early ones, I think, what they said were Four Roses is the rumor. I mean, it's the rumor. Rumor has it.
Yeah.
I'll be like Adele. Rumor has it.
Yeah. They have 10 possible mash bills.
Listen, it's rumor, Stephen.
I know. Well, no, it's not rumor. They have 2 mash bills and 5 yeast strains.
No, I know. All right, Stephen. What's your next one?
Next bourbon?
Yeah, next bourbon you want to give somebody, or you
rye.
would like, or rye. Absolutely, you can go rye.
Pikesville rye.
Pikesville
that's
rye.
a solid one.
Solid pick. Look at you knocking it out of the park already, man. I love this.
Yeah,
it is, and it's a very reasonable price too.
Absolutely, it is MGP rye though. Let's not mince words on that. It is MGP, but it is delicious. I think it's the 95.5 if I'm correct.
I think you're right.
So, but yeah, absolutely, Pikesville rye is absolutely excellent.
What about like drinkware?
Drinkware.
Like we did 3 bourbons each, 3 or 4 bourbons.
I only did 2 bourbons. I went 1, 2.
We went rogue over on this side.
I know you did. Y'all went crazy. You started off with 1, 2. I saw Nick's like, well, I want this, and this. Like, he just went straight in for it. So for me, number 3 is probably going to be maybe the trickiest of the bunch, and it's mainly because of the fact that I like single barrels. I'm a little snobby about that type of stuff, but I'm gonna just say go into your local store, pick a single barrel, but I think this one's still pretty readily available. Let's go with the Knob Creek single barrel, 120 proof. They're delicious, tasty. Most of your stores are going to have them right up front. We're actually going to drink one of those a little bit later, but I think those are just bottles I think you're going to like. You got one that's a high rye mash bill, and you got one that's like that middle level mash bill on the rye, and then you got a wheater that you can distinguish from.
Yeah, and some of those on the shelf, like if you look at the label, calculate the date out, and some of them have like this silver placard, like it looks like one of those fake plastic ones. Like some of those are like 15 year.
Oh, some 14, 15 year for sure.
Those are, I mean, you can find those maybe like a little hole in the wall, maybe like a little dive bar or whatever.
And they're delicious. And equally so on the rye side. Like, if you find any of the old ryes that have, especially those placard ones, thundered, you should definitely buy one of those. So those are my three bourbons that I think in there. Did we get a third bourbon from Mr. Legend?
Yeah, we got 3.
We got 3 from him?
Not 3 bourbons. You got 2 bourbons and a rye.
There we go. Well, all right. Well, never mind. We're good. So next, we're going to move on to kind of those maybe a little bit more expensive gifts, or maybe just something that we think everybody should have in their bar, things like that. And I'm going to start off with, and this is something I actually asked for myself for this year. I told my wife I wanted one of those bartender carrying cases, which basically it's like a little attaché case, or like almost like a laptop bag. And it holds like 3 or 4 bottles, and then it has all the stuff you would need for making drinks. It's got a strainer, it's got a shot glass, it's got, a stirring spoon, it's got, all those little knick-knacky things that go with it. And I think anybody that's a bourbon drinker would really, really appreciate something like that. A, because they can carry their bottles around, to share and do fun things with. And then B, they have the opportunity to be able to, make some drinks, do some custom things with it. And it's got enough little pockets and holes to where if you got to take the stuff to make a Manhattan or stuff to make an old fashioned, you can throw that stuff in there with your bourbon or your rye.
I'm going to feed off of that. One of my favorite gifts that I really like and I use a lot, and they come in 4 different sizes. It's Whiskey Wild. I think it's WYLDE. Don't quote me on that. Just Google it. But it's the hard case. So instead of the bag, basically they have a small one. I have there's one that holds samples, so holds 4 2-ounce samples and 2 Glens, or they have like the size up, and it's all foam. It's like a Pelican case, so you can fly with it. So it holds like 2 or 3 bottles, and then like your Glens. So when I go travel or I go wait in line, I can bring some samples. I don't have to worry about like it breaking. If you see some of the
those are the ones that have the sponge in it. Sorry to interrupt you. Right, they got like the sponge type outside, so that way it's a lot more compact and like tight fitting.
It's a hard case. It looks like a Pelican.
I know it's hard case, but I'm saying on the inside, is it like a spongy?
Foam.
Okay, foam. Okay.
Yeah, so it's like a cut foam. So basically, you can take your Glens. It's like a hard case. I've never had any issues. I've flown with it. I put it in the bag. No issues. You can carry a couple bottles, bring a couple bottles back.
What do those bad boys run?
I haven't looked on their website. I think it's just over $100, but you can get some of the big ones that hold like 6 to 12 bottles. Like if you're like going out to like Napa Valley, and I think those are like $200 to $300.
Yeah.
But again, it's a hard case. You can travel with it. It's I think it's TSA compliant based off of my experience with that.
Well,
so I kind of go with that.
Hot day. Mr. Legend.
I would have to go back to your idea, but I don't carry stuff to make drinks. So just something nice for bottles.
You just want something to carry your bottles with, right?
Something better than my Kroger bag.
Yeah, it's a little rough around the edges there, man.
I think they make like these I don't know which store. There's a couple of stores here. I think there's the Mercantile, I know, at in Louisville or whatever. But they have like those canvas bags that hold,
Yeah, I think my biggest thing, and the reason I really liked the bags that I'd sent the picture to my wife and my kids, was the fact that they're heavily padded, so the bottles have tons of foam, or like, and I think honestly it's for like, you could put chilled like bottles of wine and stuff in there too, because it's
that's
like
really nice.
So it would like kind of, they're insulated, but it's padded, it's heavy duty, it's real nice and sturdy. And so for me, and I think that thing was like $56. I mean, it wasn't real expensive, and it hold like 4 or 5 bottles. So for me, I think that's just a really one. But yeah, I think you're right up there. And then you then step up to what I would call like your niche-y type gifts, like maybe it's a bourbon with a Glencairn or a shot glass, or with a rocks glass or something like that. You've got some stuff out there that are pretty nice things. Matter of fact, I think, Stephen, you were telling us about one the other day. What was that?
Well, right now at Old Forester, they have a Statesman set, bottle of Statesman signed by Jackie Zykan.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
With 4 Statesman glasses.
Okay. And then wasn't there
150 sets total were made.
Oh, that's cool. And what about the other one? There was like 375s or something you were telling us about?
They have a set of 375s, the 1897, the 1910, and the 1920.
Ooh, got the bottled and bond 1910 and 1920. That's a hell of a lineup.
That's a really good lineup.
What's the price point on that bad boy?
I don't know. It wasn't out.
I mean, what do you do? I mean, what good are you here?
He's giving us Easter eggs. Stop it.
I haven't been back to work.
Jeez, I'm telling you what. I'll tell you, just a savage, absolute savage. And I always tell people, and it's funny, but I always think, Woodford does one, usually every year. They've got a rocks glass and a Woodford bottle. It might be 2 Woodford glasses or whatever.
Knob Creek came out with one this year. I saw a Knob Creek one.
So, I mean,
Jim Beam's done it.
I think anybody, that especially if it's a younger bourbon drinker, go that route too. I mean, that's a perfectly good gift. It gives them a couple of glasses to drink out of, and then you could always go for a Glencairn. Go find a Glencairn. People.
I'm a big fan of going and getting a good glass, whether it's the Norland or just getting on Amazon and getting a good, like the Spade Rams or the Glencairns. Yep. Good gift. I mean, people's going to come over to your house and do tasting and stuff like that. So you want good drinkware. So you can do tastings, you can host. Huge fan of the Drams, which is what we're drinking of now. It's like the no tip. Super, super good.
No tip. Yeah. Your wife didn't ask for that, did she?
Oh my God. So yeah, it's
I couldn't leave it alone. Sorry.
And reasonable prices.
Yeah. Usually I think they're like $8.
I heard it was free.
Yeah. This is why we can't have Scott drinking all that. No, I'm kidding. It's like $8 a glass, so I think it's a good buy.
Absolutely. And then we've got the pièce de résistance here today. Nick's got a couple of really, really cool gifts that you could get, but these are going to be, you have to really like the person if you're going to give them one of these.
Yeah. So yes. So these are not necessarily cheap. There's 2 options. One option I like a little better than the other. Stave and Thief is a local experience downtown. They have the executive class, and it takes you all day. I think it's like $500. Again, we're talking.
That's what I said. You better like this person.
Yeah, it's an all day thing, but it's you learn. So you get a book. It takes you through the entire process, how to basically how bourbon's made. The class, they give you a sensory kit. So and that's the main focus of where that $500 is from. So they give you a sensor kit with like 36 cents, and that allows you to train your palate and your nose. So the Stave and Thief has one that is included in the class, which is a really neat experience. Bourbon Real Talk has another sensory kit that's really nice, and I have both of them. It just goes through. You can, when my buddies and I get together, we always go through and we always joke around like with what we're smelling. It's always fun to like Heaven Hill actually has a sensory experience on their new bottle your own experience. But again, it's one of those neat. You can help train your palate, train your nose. Again, it's not cheap. It's like $300, but it's one of those. You take it to the next level.
So I'm looking at both of these, and I'm going to hand this over just to the legend because I don't think he's got a chance to look at these yet. They're very different, but very similar. So they both have some of your like woody, fruity smells, things like that. But then the Stave Thief one has corn, methanol, ethanol, propylol, butyl, all the different, acids and alcohols and things like that you would typically relate to bourbon, which I think is a little neat. I've actually never smelled that one or looked at it, but I think that's pretty neat. Whereas the actual American whiskey aroma kit that you got from the other place, I mean, it's got your, chocolates and coffee and, smoke and tobacco and licorice and maple syrup and cinnamon. So it's got all those baking spices along with the fruit and the chocolates and nuts and things like that. The one funny thing that we talked about before we jumped on the podcast was the heliotrope.
Yes, heliotrope.
I should have Googled it to see what it was, but I have no idea what heliotrope is. It is a unique smell, though.
Yeah, so those like the ethanol and stuff, basically they went through the heads, hearts, and tails of the bourbon making experience. That way you can figure out like, it's like, this is what, when they talk about the heads, this is what it is. This is the hearts. This is what it is. This is the tails. Again, they're both unique. I think they both complement each other, but that's like $800. So, but it's I think if I had to choose one over the other, I think the experience with the Stave Thief, the all day class, that really, the immersion into the educational experience is really cool. Downtown Louisville, really neat.
Walking you through everything, yeah, absolutely. That sounds like an absolutely neat experience.
Is there a test with that or anything? Or?
Yeah, so there's technically 2 certifications, and so there's one that you can do online. I think it's $150. It's a self-taught thing. They'll mail you a book. I got like 2 of the books over there. It walks you through like the history, the differences between like your Scotch, Irish whiskey, and basically takes you through everything. So it's almost like this like entry-level whiskey sommelier type of course.
Gotcha.
Go through, and then once you're done, once you've kind of finished the self-taught, you take an online test. So that's one option. The second option is the executive one, and that's the one where you get the tasting kit. Again, they walk you through everything, a lot of the history. They'll take you into the back where they're distilling spirits, they're barreling it. They'll walk you through how to nose, some of the nuances, taste, and basically after that you take another test. And then once you pass that test, you are an executive bourbon steward. You get your lapel pin, you get your challenge coin, and you get to take home your sensory kit. Again, it's $500, but you get all that stuff. And the sensory kit itself is usually $300. So you're talking about
$couple $100 to get certified, do all the other fun stuff.
You get breakfast and lunch.
Be part of the experience, right?
Yeah,
absolutely, 100%. So that's not bad for a couple $100.
No,
I think you actually get a discount if you've done the certified bourbon steward.
Yes, you do. And if you are, I think a lot of the local clubs locally, if you measure them, I think there's like a $50 off if you're involved in maybe your local club. Maybe at least reach out and they might provide something. But
yeah, absolutely.
Every little bit helps.
All right. So to finish out this episode, let's talk a little bit more about this Jefferson Reserve, and then we're going to throw out one more thing that we would want for a gift for bourbon related at the very, very end. But this Jefferson, it's very unique. It's got a nice little nose on it. I tell you what, it's kind of sweeter than I was expecting it to be, honestly, because this is the first time I've actually tried this one. But I get a little bit of caramel, a little bit of vanilla, some leather, and then there's some kind of fruit in there, but I can't pick it out. So maybe I got to run through the sensory kit a little bit.
I mean, I get the same thing with the Woodford Double Oaked and the 1910 from Old Forester, the sweetness, the smoothness, and that's what I really love about this one.
It's almost like a slight hint of like cherry. I'm trying to think of that fruit note on the back end. I know what you're talking about.
It's not. I don't know. If I was going to try to pinpoint it, I would say probably like fig or something like that. But it's in that family: fig, cherry.
Nice sweet though. This is nice and sweet. Again, those caramels that nice complement with the wood. Just
yep. No, absolutely.
Solid pick.
The oak is actually, I mean, it's delicate too. It's not like that real woody, that you get from some of these double oaks. and that you said it was a special grooved, stave, so that gives it a little bit more wood coverage ratio. But I think this is a solid pick overall. Stephen, bravo, man, bravo.
Thank you. There was a group of us. It wasn't just me.
It was just you. Just take ownership of it. It was all me, man. I'm a badass. Just tell them that. It's all good. We don't care.
Solo J. Scott, SJS.
I'm J. Scott. He's Stephen J. Scott. All right. So one last gift. It could be a barrel. It could be a bottle. It could be whatever it would be. Is there anything else that if somebody was like, hey, I got to get Nick or Steven a gift, what would it be?
I'd probably say a barrel display. So you'll see it on like the marketplace or like those craft shows where they take a used barrel. I have one back here.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It was a gift where they cut out the front of the barrel and they put shelves on it. And it's a nice place to put my bottles. It's kind of cool. It has the aesthetics. Not too expensive, but it's really neat. I think any bourbon lover would like it. And then you can get a glass top for it too. I got my brother one for his birthday. And we got
make it into an actual table with a shelf inside. Yeah.
So we got him, I think it was on Etsy, but it's like a 36-inch like Lazy Susan, and it fits perfectly on it, and it turns into a table, and he can store his bottles, and it looks super cool in his bar area. So
Yep. Steven?
I have a small area at home for my stuff, so I don't really need furniture or those kinds of things, but I would like to have a nice decanter.
Oh, a decanter.
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
Great
Absolutely.
idea, yes.
Maybe even a couple of them.
Yeah, get a nice decanter. Maybe if you can get one, if you can find some place that will etch it for you or engrave it, that'd be really cool. Absolutely. All right, my last one, and then we're gonna sign off this bad boy. Tasting wheel.
Oh yeah.
So I was gonna say, to go along with the aroma kit, things like that. To me, I think a tasting wheel is something if you can find one. And I know Nick's got some super nice ones. His are like an old barrel, like it's shaped like a barrel, but it's like a Lazy Susan, and it's got all the stuff engraved on it and things like that. I'm sure those are way more expensive than some of the ones I've seen, but
they're not that expensive.
They're actually not that bad.
No, it's there's
$75-$80 or.
Yeah, I think it's right around 70,
Oh,
70 to 80. They're made out of barrel heads, so you can hang it. I just happened to attach a $10 Lazy Susan thing from Amazon.
Oh, well, hell, you did that yourself? Man,
yeah, so I made the Lazy Susan myself. So
who knew you were so handy?
I know, right? So that's what those are. So it's a great idea though, with the tasting wheel.
Tasting wheel. So that was my last gift. I was like, if I was going to get something from somebody and they wanted to give me something that I think I would really enjoy having that, just because of the fact that outside of the aroma kit or things like that, it just gives you something to look at while you're drinking your bourbon and going, oh yeah, man, I do get that, because sometimes you just need to jar the old memory every now and then.
Get that little push.
Yeah, absolutely. And just kind of dive into that piece. So, well, that's it for season's greetings, holiday gifts, Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa. We can throw out all kinds of stuff that's during this time of year, but we love everybody. We want everybody to enjoy it, and we hope you enjoy it with your family. But find that special gift for your bourbon lover. Make sure you take care of them. Follow us on Bourbon Barrel Talk at bourbonbarreltalk@gmail.com. If you want to email us questions, you want to follow us, you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, all those good things. And this is, make sure you hit the subscribe button. That's what everybody always says. You've always hit the subscribe button. That way you get the episodes as soon as possible. My buddy was telling me, you need to tell them that. And I said, I don't know if I tell them that all the time or some of the time or what, but hit the subscribe button. Cheers to you guys out there for your holiday season. I hope you all have a good one. This is Scott, Nick, and the Legend signing off. Peace out.